So I'm just gonna wait for people to come, see if anybody actually comes. Otherwise, it's just gonna be me sitting here for some amount of time until I realize maybe no one's gonna come or people will come. I just wanted to try YouTube Live and see, you know, if anybody's interested in this. I did my last poll, or like I did a video a few weeks ago, and I asked if people would want me to do YouTube Live, and so I decided to try it as one of the keto misses to see if anybody's actually interested in it. And I've got 2 people, so that actually feels really good. I didn't think anybody would pop in. So I'm just gonna go over kind of what I've done today on keto until people start asking questions. I just wanted to kind of give a space where if people wanted to ask questions about things on keto and just get a direct response, they could. Otherwise, I don't know what else I'll go over for this time period. I think I'll be on here for at least a half an hour. Otherwise, maybe I'll stop early if nobody asks me any questions and if there's no conversation that kind of gets started. So for today, I filmed a video going over how to make a kind of like a skier's French toast, which is like a baked French toast, and so that video will be up tomorrow. And then I did a dairy-free kind of whipped cream topping to go with that, and then I did a no sugar, no sweetener syrup. So I'm going to show you guys how to do all those things tomorrow, and so I'm really excited about that video, and so I hope you guys are excited about that as well. I also wanted to take this minute and kind of see if there's any other video ideas that you guys want to see. I've recorded a bunch of videos, but I want to make sure that as I go through this whole 25-day process that I'm really kind of being taking in your guys' opinions on what you want to see as far as video content. I feel like this whole process has really kind of given me some direction on what I want to do in my channel, and so I want to make sure that I'm doing that. Can I see? Okay. So if you guys have any like questions or comments, you can always go and like show them. Yeah, so if you guys have any like questions that you want to ask me, this is kind of what I'm doing this time for. So so yeah, I made that skier's French toast, or that baked French toast today for my lunch, and then for dinner tonight I made a ribeye for me and my husband. I usually buy a bigger ribeye and then split it into 2 meals. It's just a way to save money. And then I will kind of just pan cook it. I don't like to grill it. I usually will just cook it in fat or oil in order to get more fat into it. And then I also made some asparagus, so I usually just cut up the asparagus into pieces and then cook it in some sort of fat or oil. Today I used olive oil. Typically you'll see me do lots of like coconut oil in the morning, avocado oil at lunch, and then olive oil in the evening, and that's just to get all the different types of fat in that I want to eat. So I think I'm doing this right. So yeah, if you guys want to ask any questions, or if there's anything you guys want to know more about, feel free to ask them. If there's been burning questions that you wanted me to go over or talk about, feel free to ask them, and I'll answer them on this. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of talk about topics that have been kind of coming up in my comment section, and then kind of what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. A question that I get often is kind of how do I meal plan, or how do I go about buying groceries, and I typically buy groceries 1 day a week, and then we'll kind of spread it out over the week with kind of the fresher ingredients being used on the weekends earlier in the week, and then I'll go on to eating frozen items later on in the week. So that's kind of the way I kind of grocery shop or menu plan for the week. I'll also kind of buy my meat based on what will expire sooner versus later, and then I will end up using kind of frozen or what I have in store later on in the week. So I don't know, no one's asking any questions, or at least they're not showing up. I don't know if I'm not doing it right. But yeah, if you guys want to ask questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'll just kind of keep hanging out until maybe more people join, just knowing kind of what you guys are wondering about on keto, or just seeing if live hangouts work. I don't know if they're not showing up, if I'm not doing it right. Could somebody actually, if you're watching, could you just put a question out there, just like say hi or something. I'm just curious if I have my settings right, since this is the first time I've ever done this. Thank you, thank you. Okay, I just didn't know if I was maybe not doing it right, so I appreciate that. Is there anything that anybody's wondering about that I haven't gone over? Do you have topics that you want me to kind of talk about more? I don't know why. So anyways, the next video will be the skier's French toast, that baked French toast that I was talking about earlier, and then I am sort of staying away from dairy right now. My husband is having issues with dairy, and so I am staying away from dairy because he's staying away from it. I noticed that when I incorporated dairy back in, I wasn't losing weight as fast. I noticed that I started to stall, and so I kind of stopped eating dairy because of that. And then my husband had a lot of issues with incorporating dairy back in once we added it back in. So we've been pretty much dairy-free. I did buy this huge thing of heavy whipping cream, and so I've been trying to find ways to kind of incorporate it into things that my kids are eating because they don't have any issues with dairy, and just trying to get that used up so we don't waste something. But for the most part, me and my husband are both kind of dairy-free for the most part, or sorry, for the most part right now, me and my husband are dairy-free. And then for nuts and seeds, do you mean like, am I still avoiding them, or what kind of nuts and seeds do I like? Because that could be two different things. I'm not avoiding them right now. I'm basically eating any nuts that are keto friendly. But mostly I find myself eating more seeds because I have a tendency to want them on salads, and so that's just an easy way to incorporate them. Hi. I'm glad more people are joining. I've never done this before, and so I'm sort of nervous and I don't really know what to expect. I just kind of thought that during this whole 25 days process that I would try and do different things on my channel to see kind of what I like and what doesn't work, what you guys like. I want to make sure that I'm doing different things so that way I don't get stuck in the same rut, so that way I don't get bored and you guys don't get bored watching me. So I want to make sure I'm doing as much as I can in order to kind of, I don't know, keep my channel, you know, good for you guys, and then have it work for me as well. So the amount of nuts that I eat, or seeds, I will typically have several tablespoons of nuts and seeds on salads each day. I typically eat a big salad 6 days a week. And then for nuts, I will usually throw them in there as more of either with a dessert option or with if I'm low on fat, I might add in more nuts, but if I'm low on fat and protein, I might add in more nuts. But for the most part, I just kind of will throw them in there occasionally, but I don't eat a ton of nuts. If I eat nuts, it's typically macadamia or walnuts, sometimes almonds, but if I'm snacking, I find that I go for more like flackers. I have a tendency to go towards those just because they're a good source of omega-3, and they're usually one net carb. So if you want to eat lots of nuts, they're a good source of fat and protein, so I wouldn't stay away from them. They can sneak up on you with carbs, depending on how many you're eating, but yeah, I wouldn't avoid them. I think, you know, whatever works within your macros for the day, that's kind of what's best for you. If it's an easy way to get fat and protein in, then go with that. We don't drink like commercial made kombucha. We do make our own. And so if you guys are interested in a kombucha making video, I'd be more than happy to make that. You do need a SCOBY in order to make kombucha. You can also buy like pre-fermented kits in order to do it that you can either buy online or you can get from like Whole Foods or health food stores, but you definitely need a SCOBY in order to kind of start it. There are some really good kind of sugar-free recipes, so I can do one if you want me to do one. What are my favorite keto YouTubers? Keto Connect is one of my favorite ones. I would say that I don't watch videos every single day that are keto related. Sometimes I watch other non-keto YouTubers, but Keto Connect is one that I watch pretty regularly. I also watch an Australian girl named Rachel Ost. She's really cool, and I feel like she kind of fits the same style that I do. She does keto videos. She had PCOS, and so she did keto in order to kind of cure that. And then she also does like minimalism videos, which is something that I'm sort of into. So she's a great one. I will occasionally watch Dr. Berg's videos if there's a topic that he is going over that I'm interested in. Other ones, I watch a lot of people who are trying to lose weight, and kind of I watch their what I eat in a day videos, and I watch their updates, their progress videos, because I feel like there's a lot of community there, and when you hear about where somebody else is at, that can kind of make you feel not alone in a process. So I like those types of videos as far as like keto videos go. I don't eat fat bombs very often. They're kind of something that I eat every once in a while, more as a treat for me. If I was going to have some sort of dessert, I will typically go with like 90% dark chocolate. I think that's my preference. I don't have a hard time getting my fats in for the day because I will add a lot of fat to salads, or I'll add seeds to salad in order to kind of add more fat. But if I am low on fat, then I could use a fat bomb, or I could go with a fat bomb, but you don't have to eat fat bombs on keto in order to be keto. You can just do whatever you need to do in order to hit your macros for the day, and there's a lot of great different fat options out there. To know the carb count in kombucha, you know, it's going to be the SCOBY that's going to ferment and make everything, so there's really not going to be any carbs in there. What ends up happening is people will add different kind of fruit juices in order to add more sugar to it, and so if you buy like a commercial kombucha, that's usually what's adding the sugars and the kind of carbs in there. I have convinced one of my coworkers to do keto, and she kind of went to Italy and then came back and was like, "You've lost a lot of weight. What did you do?" And it was when I had been losing lots of weight, but then when I cut out like dairy and a bunch of other things, I think my body just looked more lean. And so when I did that, she was on vacation for a while and then came back and was like, "You've lost a lot of weight. What did you do? I need to do this." And so I've convinced one person to do it. I do this channel for me, and then I do it for the people that will honestly search and find this channel. I do this for kind of that relationship. People in my day-to-day life, they don't really know that I do YouTube. My husband isn't subscribed to my channel. You know, my close family isn't subscribed to my channel. They know I do keto, but they don't really know that I do kind of this, or to what extent I do this too. So I really do this for me as a hobby, and then I do it for the people that want to watch these types of videos and kind of get this kind of information. That's always been my goal. You go back and watch my welcome video. It's videos for me, and then it's videos for anybody that wants to watch them. I'm not going to push this on any kind of family or friends or anything. But if they ask what I'm doing and they're interested, I am more than happy to share and talk about it until they tell me to shut up. So for like flax crackers, I buy a lot of like the flackers. There's lots of good recipes on Pinterest where you can find how to make your own kind of flaxseed crackers. Keto Connect did a really great video about it too, so if you want to save money, you just want to make sure that you're soaking the flax seeds ahead of time in order to get more of the nutrients out. So when I added collagen, if you go back and you watch some of my earlier videos, I had I didn't have bad skin, but I had poorer skin than I have now, and then I had really bad hair. And so I've noticed a lot of benefit from incorporating collagen, specifically like type 1 and type 2 collagens into my diet, or type 1 and type 3 collagens into my diet, which are the most common that you can find. And so I found a lot of benefit from incorporating those in. And then I've also noticed that the tone of my skin is more improved, and that, you know, if you've watched my videos, I had more of a belly before, and I've lost a lot of weight from that region. That's where I stored the majority of my fat was stored in my belly. And so I've had kind of an ongoing fear of, will I get loose skin in that area? And right now I've got like a small amount, and I think it would have been worse had I not been, you know, consuming collagen this entire time, because the texture of my skin when I touch it is, you know, it's solid, it's staying together. And so I feel like I'm doing everything throughout this entire process in order to support my skin, so that way I get the best end result when I'm all done losing weight. I make my own bone broth. Basically, anytime I buy a whole chicken, I will throw it in my crock pot. I will completely cover it with water. I will add 1 carrot and then some onion, and then any kind of herbs and seasonings that I have fresh. Sometimes it's thyme, sometimes it's sage. And then I will typically cook it for about 36 or more hours in order to get all the nutrients out of those bones. And then I will put it in mason jars, and then if I can't drink it within a 48-hour period, or if I can't drink everything that I've made within a 48-hour period, I will freeze the rest and then enjoy it later. You can, if you have an Instapot, they're great for making bone broth kind of really quickly, but I just, you know, I haven't invested into an Instapot yet. I'm still waiting to decide if that's something I want to purchase. My mother-in-law just purchased one, and so I'm just waiting for her to kind of tell me if she really likes it, and I'll kind of go with her opinion. But for right now, I'm still using a crock pot, still doing it for a long period of time in order to get kind of everything out of the bone. I also will buy beef bones, the whole bones from either my grocer. I do buy a half of a cow every year in order to kind of get fresh grass-fed beef for a lot cheaper than what I would pay in the grocery store, and I do get the bones with that, and so I will make bone broth from that as well. So I will usually have in my freezer at any time turkey, chicken, and beef bone broth that I've made myself. My thoughts, I have MCT oil every single day. I love it. It's thermogenic. It's a different type of fat source chain than if you have just coconut oil or if you have grass-fed butter, so you're just getting different fats in there. So I have MCT oil every single day in my coffees. Even if I don't make a blended coffee, I will still throw a tablespoon in there, and I love it. So I have been trying a palm-based MCT oil, and I'm not noticing any difference from like a coconut base versus palm base, and so just trying different things to see kind of how I feel. The only time I've ever experienced hair loss was when I was anemic, and I was anemic prior to having kids. I became anemic from eating a raw-based diet because I didn't eat any meat and I didn't watch my nutrients, and I became anemic, and then it took several years to kind of cure that. So that's the only time I've really experienced lots of hair loss. I also experienced a little bit of hair loss when I was really calorie restrictive, when I first started to even think about weight loss or trying to be healthy, and I didn't know what to do. So I was eating 1,000 calories a day, and that was really stupid, and I lost a lot of hair from that as well. But from being keto, I haven't lost anything because I've been trying to be focused on making sure that I'm getting fats from different sources, making sure that I'm getting good saturated fats, good unsaturated fats, and that I'm getting all those micronutrients in there in order to keep things balanced. So I haven't had any experience this time, but I have experienced in the past, and I know how horrible it is. It took me about 6 weeks to kind of feel fully fat adapted, and then 3 months to kind of feel like I was completely in the stride of it and that I could just keep going and going and going. So So I think it varies for different people. Like I said before, I'm kind of talking with a coworker and they're in their first few weeks and they haven't gotten there yet. And we're kind of just talking about it and she's like, I'm still having, I went through the keto flu and I'm feeling full all the time, but I still feel like, my mental clarity is not as at 100% yet, but I'm feeling the benefits of it, and I'm feeling like I'm, not quite there with my sleep. And so usually I feel like sleep is the last one for feeling really fully fat adapted. So between, I don't know, I think most people it's between like 4 and 3 months to feel fully fat adapted. So just, if you haven't felt there yet, just hang in there. I don't do intermittent fasting because I can't go that long without eating. I totally applaud people that can, but I need about the 250 calories that I get from my coffee in the morning just to get through the day. And I wish I could do intermittent fasting because I feel like it would help me lose weight more. And so if people can do it, I totally encourage doing it, but I can't do it. I just get too hungry too soon. And I also can't figure out a creative way to get my collagen into my diet without putting it in my coffee. I think you can do keto while pregnant. I would totally work with your physician at the same time and kind of just say that you're trying to be on a lower carbohydrate diet while you're pregnant. There are lots of people who have successfully done it. I follow a bunch of people on Instagram who have successfully done it and they've had great pregnancies, but I personally haven't done it, so I don't have a personal experience. Pregnancy for every single person is different, and kind of the symptoms and the things you go through and the things you go through with your body and the changes, it all varies. And even both my pregnancies were completely different. My daughter, I was throwing up all the time, and my son, it was easy. So I would really just kind of sit down and talk to your doctor about it, or your OBGYN, as you go through the process. My favorite source of fat is probably avocado oil. I feel like it's very versatile. It doesn't have a taste, and so you can hide it into things really well. And it also has a high kind of heat ratio, so if you're trying to cook things at a higher heat, you can get away with it with avocado oil. So it's kind of my favorite oil to use. My favorite non-oil fat is probably, well, it's coconut manna would probably be my favorite way to sneak fat in, because it tastes like coconut frosting. So you can buy it on Amazon, you can buy it in a few different places. So if you're looking for a way to make easy frosting and you don't want to make your own, coconut manna is my favorite thing. I've never tried a powdered MCT oil. I always try liquid, so I don't have an actual opinion on powdered versus liquid. So if anybody does, I think that's a good question to have kind of the group answer. So I'm 130 now, as of this morning, 130.5, and so my weight that I want to lose, I don't really have a set number. I want to get to about 20% body fat, and I'm about 23% body fat right now, so 3% more body fat to lose, and then I will be in maintenance. I imagine that based on kind of my body fat percentages and the weight that I've lost, that will be approximately another 5, maybe 7 pounds. So 5-7 pounds, and then I'm done, and then I'm just kind of in maintenance. So when I go into maintenance, I probably won't change my carbs that much, but I probably will increase my calories, and I will probably start looking to do more lifting or kind of body toning. I feel like I'm pretty fluffy still in some of my areas, so I feel like I've gotten thinner, but I'm still like skinny fat, or whatever you want to call it. I've got a whole kind of guide series starting on that. And did you guys like those videos? Do you want me to kind of start the keto guide up again? Those are my kind of favorite ones for really just interacting with you guys and seeing what videos you guys like to watch, what videos you're interested in. The big thing with my channel that I want is to not only be somebody that's going through the process, but also be somebody that is sharing any information that they have, and then creating community where people feel comfortable talking about different things and getting advice on different things. So if you guys want me to do more keto guides, I'd be more than happy to start doing those again. So for my day-to-day job and like mental benefits, I work with a lot of numbers, and I've noticed that I'm able to kind of power through that a lot. Well, I'm able to power through that quicker than I was before. I've noticed that, and then when I first started keto, I was finishing up some of my graduate work, and so I felt some benefits there where I was able to kind of sustain and keep my energy longer. I feel like everybody has this window in the day when you're at your perfect self, where you are able to kind of power through anything, and I felt like that window got bigger, and because of that I was able to get through more each day. And so I wouldn't necessarily say that I felt like I, you know, had more clarity, but I had a longer window of time in which I was able to get more done. So when I maintain with keto, I might do a little bit more. I can't imagine myself eating more carbs than I'm eating right now, because I eat a lot of vegetables. I eat like 5 to 7 servings of vegetables at least 6 days a week. And then on Sundays, I give myself a treat where I maybe don't eat the most nutritious keto meal, but I eat something that gives me sanity on this whole process. So I don't really see myself really going crazy with the carbs. I kind of see myself sticking around 20 net carbs a day, because I'm able to get in all the micronutrients I need from eating that amount. I do see myself maybe increasing the amount of calories, so that way I just kind of stay at the weight that I'm at going forward, because right now I'm eating between 1,200 and 1,500 calories a day, and I burn on average 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day. So I do that through just continuously being active throughout my work day. If I'm at home, I've got a desk that I pedal on, and then if I'm at work, I make sure that every half an hour I get up and kind of do a lap around my office, so that way I'm moving throughout the work day. So I'm continuously burning calories as well as working out at night. I think carb refeeds are super personal to each person. For me, every time I've done a carb refeed, it's just kind of reconfirmed the fact that I don't do well eating a lot of carbs. And that doesn't mean everybody feels that way. There's lots of people who are very successful on diets in which they eat lots of carbs. I don't personally believe that there's one diet that fits every single human being. I believe that there are people that have unique chemistry within their body, and they need unique things in order to kind of fuel and sustain themselves. So I think carb refeeds are really unique. I've noticed that when I've done it, I've usually gained anywhere from 2 to 3 pounds up to 11 pounds was my biggest, and it was mainly water retention, lots of bloat, and it just immediately kind of triggered the response in my head that this isn't something that works for me. So I can't imagine myself really going and doing another carb refeed again, or doing anything really related to carbs again. I just feel like I'm kind of found the diet finally that actually works for me. But there are lots of people who are very successful at carb refeeds. Typically they're bodybuilders or people with more muscle on their body, and they're kind of going after those goals. So kind of the cheat day meals, and I did that as my first carb refeed option, just to see, like, can I eat carbs? Can I do this? Is this okay? Like, am I gonna survive? And it didn't work. It was bad. And so for me, it didn't work, but there are other people where it works for them. I think it's super individual based on how carbs react with your body. I use Zinc collagen. It's honestly the best collagen that I can find. It's from South American grass-fed cows, and so if you're like afraid of glyphosate or any of that in your cow, it's should be free of it because they don't use that in most of their cropping. So I use Zinc collagen, and that's my favorite one. I've pretty much used that since, I don't know, my 3rd month on keto, and I've just consistently used it. Of all the products that I've tried throughout this entire process, that's the only one that I've consistently used. And I'm not sponsored. They don't know me from anybody, so it's 100% an honest review, and I like it. It blends really easily. There's bone broth collagen out there, and I don't like that because you kind of get an animal-y taste, and then with Zinc it just kind of reminds me of like powdered creamer in coffee, and it just really just blends, makes it creamy, and I just don't taste it at all. I do think carb feeds mess kind of with your metabolism because it usually takes me anywhere from, or the 3 times that I did it, it took anywhere from 5 to almost 2 weeks in order to get back on a cycle of losing weight and feeling completely normal. The first time I did it, I went to a family function and somebody gave me gluten, and I'm somebody that avoids gluten, and that gave me a lot of issues. The second time that I did it, I did a very nutrition-based refeed where I wasn't going for the cheats. I was just trying to focus on, eating lots of sweet potatoes, eating bananas, and that's when I gained 11 pounds. So I went after really starchy foods, and so it just didn't work well with my body. And then the last time I did the resistant starch method, and that was 1 or 2 pounds, and then within 3 days I was back to right back to losing weight, right back to my regular kind of body feeling. So of all the carb feeds I did, resistant starches was the best. I don't use any of the kind of Slim Fast or Atkins products. When I first learned about low carb diets, my dad was doing it, and he is a big fan of Atkins, and I would see him do Atkins for a while and then kind of gain the weight back, do Atkins for a while and then gain the weight back. So I felt really negative towards Atkins. I know it works for a lot of people, and I'm not like anti-Atkins, but I just saw my dad not be successful on it, so it gave me kind of that feeling of, it didn't work for my dad. I don't know, kind of emotionally how I feel about this, because you want to see the people you care about be successful. So I don't know why I just have a kind of mental block about Atkins all the time now. So my favorite sweet thing is dark chocolate, but I have tried mug cakes. My favorite one is like the peanut butter chocolate ones that you can make. I've done a lot of Pinterest ones trying to figure out what's the best. It's usually to kind of get the best fluffiness. It's the flour you use, whatever you want to use as a sweetener, and then the amount of baking powder that you use in order to get it really fluffy. So I usually look for ones that have a good flour to baking powder ratio. If you're so like 0.5 4325. If you're thinking about a refeed day, I would try the resistant starches where you heat and cool the starch in a specific way. That's the easiest for people to do. So you can buy rice, heat it and cool it, and then reheat it in order to get the starch out there. And you can do the same thing with sweet potatoes. That's kind of an easy way to kind of see how you feel. You also want to make sure that when you do that, that you're not going crazy on your fats as well. You kind of end up switching your fats with your carbs in order to get the best balance if you're really, really wanting to try a refeed day. I like cauliflower crust pizza too. Portion control. I don't feel like I have to on keto. I feel like I get full so quickly, especially if I'm using my fats wisely. So if I cook or saute vegetables, if there's a vegetable that you would normally steam, I recommend cooking it in oil, sauteing it in oil. That's an easier way to kind of get the fats into there. Also, I will volumize with lots of good leafy vegetables and then add lots of oil in there. So the thing that's beautiful about keto is that most people feel like after a while they don't have to portion control, they don't have to really think about it because they feel actual fullness when they're eating, and the fat is what makes that happen. So if you just kind of listen to your body, listen to the minute that you get full, you should be okay and not have to kind of sit and be like 1 cup of this, 1 cup of that. I just find that, you know, just doing a serving, knowing what a serving is of a vegetable, knowing what a serving is of that meat, and then making sure I add in enough fat via oil is enough to kind of keep me full. My preferred keto-friendly sweetener is stevia, or stevia-based ones. There's a company called Sweet Love that's based in my home area. It's made like 5 minutes from my work, and it's amazing. They use stevia and then they use a little bit of inulin, which is a good digestive fiber. So it's kind of the best of both worlds as far as sweeteners go. But I will also use like liquid-based stevias. I like the Sweet Leaf brand, like the different flavored ones in order to kind of add different tastes. And then I also like their powdered one. It's just, there's the math that's involved where you have to, if you use like Sweet Leaf sweetener, it's 1/3 replacement for 1 cup of sugar. So it'd be 1/3 cup to 1 cup of sugar if you find a recipe. So I will occasionally use that, but I also find that it has got a little bit of an alcohol taste, so sometimes I won't use that one. I'm still trying to lose body fat. I'm gonna go with that. Not so much weight. I saw this one video and it was the best explanation, and it's if I could say one thing in this video that you guys take away, it was talking about how when you're trying to lose weight, you could cut off your arm and then you would lose weight. It's really like body fat percentage that you want to lose, and I want to lose some more body fat percentage before I'm done you know, calorie restricting or trying to be more mindful of what it is I'm eating and how much. Oh, I'm out of questions, so if anybody has another question, be happy to answer it. Otherwise, I just quickly, the next few videos that I have, like I said at the beginning, was the baked French toast one. I've got like a cookie Milano version cookie that I'm going to be doing or I've got that filmed, so that'll be up pretty soon. And then I'm going to be doing more videos about kind of different questions that you guys have asked. So I've gotten a lot of videos about sleep and sleep issues, so I'm going to be doing another video about that pretty soon. And then a couple more that you guys have asked about, like blue light. My husband does do keto. He's got different kind of methodology than me. He does refeed days, and he is somebody who has naturally always been thin. He is 6'2", 165 pounds, never been really over, never been under that, always been incredibly, fit as far as weight goes versus your height. And so he is somebody that I think has the luxury of doing different things while on keto. And there's times when I'm making my big salad with my meat and I'm also cooking him sweet potatoes at the same time. So he does a carb refeed day at least every other week, if not every week. So he goes about keto a little bit differently. Our children are not keto. We just feed them an unprocessed or as real foods based diet as we can. Children will go out into the world. They'll go to birthday parties. They go to school. They eat other people's food. There's no way to keep them keto, and so I'm not going to stress myself over having keto kids. My daughter wants us to make a keto gingerbread house, which could be a disaster. So if you guys are interested in watching comedy, I'd be more than happy to try and make a keto gingerbread for you guys, like a gingerbread house. I'm also going to be doing, so I've got that baked French toast. That's a good option for like Christmas morning breakfast. I'm going to be doing a broccoli muffin or broccoli patty with like eggs Benedict. So that'd be like a more savory keto breakfast on Christmas option. So I'm going to be doing a couple of those like Christmas morning kind of ideas. There's a lot of benefit to keto and kind of regulating hormones. If you do any kind of diet plan, I would work with your doctor at the same time and kind of talk about what your options are and what your goals are and why you're doing it, if you're trying to see if keto will help a specific symptom. I'm a big advocate for, at the end of the day, we are all customers, so when we go to our doctors, we are consumers of their services. So if you want something specific from your doctor, you have to speak up because you have to tell your doctor what it is you want as a consumer. Oops, sorry. I will do lots of videos about my maintenance. I will continue to update you guys as I go through the process. I foresee myself doing updates about my personal experience every 3 months, so basically quarterly. And then I will probably be continuing to talk about it as I do my what I eat in a day videos and kind of talking about if incorporating different things when I'm eating keto and incorporating more calories if I'm experiencing different things. My dreams have been far more vivid on keto, and they've been, I think it's just a benefit of the cognitive function that some people experience. I sleep deeper, and I don't necessarily sleep soundly throughout the entire night, but once I hit the pillow within 10 minutes, and this has been an issue for me for a long time, once I hit the pillow, 10 minutes, I'm out, and then I'm usually out until about 4 a.m., and I sleep soundly. I get the vivid dreams. I could talk about my dreams, but they're weird, so. My daughter wants to talk about keto. Is that weird if I incorporate more of my personal life? I've done videos where I've kind of tried to be more personable about kind of who I am, and people have not liked it. So I'm always confused if I should just be an informative channel or if I should be somewhat human. I eat between probably 18 net carbs to 25 net carbs on a day when I'm being more generous. I usually give myself more net carbs on my weekends because I'm actually able to fit in more intensive workouts, so I'm able to burn those carbs off quicker. I also think about my carbs in kind of two sections. So I think about what I need for carbs when I go to work, and then what I need for carbs in the evening, especially right before a workout. So I will tend to have like 6 to 8 carbs with my lunch, and then I will have more carbs with my dinner just because I'm about to do a workout and I can burn through those carbs a lot quicker or more quickly. So with keto and travel, I will, if you know where you're going, you can usually kind of assess what's around you. And when I've traveled, I have done the thing where I found a Trader Joe's and then I bought a lot of things that I could keep in my hotel room that would fit in the fridge in order to stay keto. And then I have also kind of found restaurants that could fit that. Personally, just based on the weird ways that I ate a lot of Chipotle when I was traveling, and that kind of worked for me. But I will try to find restaurants that will work if I'm going to eat out at restaurants. If I'm staying with family, I usually find that it's not too hard to just eat more meat, eat a salad, or ask for the salad mix without the dressing, so that way I can put a keto-friendly dressing on there. So about a month before I started keto, I did my annual physical and I got all my blood work done. And then I did a hormone test in June, and then I'm going to be doing another annual physical in January. So I will be able to do a video comparing my results after being 1 year on keto. I didn't do, my results prior to keto were within the normal range, but just to see if eating a high-fat diet has made my cholesterol go up, my bad cholesterol go down, my good cholesterol go up, what the actual results are. I will probably do that, sometime January, February when I do my annual. My blood pressure has stayed the same. I've always been notoriously low with low positive or low in the good range for blood pressure. So even when I was pregnant, I didn't have high blood pressure. So I've been fortunate with kind of where my blood pressure's been. Yeah, if you go to Chipotle and you order a salad bowl, it is keto friendly. It's very keto friendly. I like to get the salad with steak. I'll get the fajita peppers, and then if I'm doing dairy, I'll get the sour cream, but otherwise I'll get a lot of the guacamole, and that's kind of my my keto friendly Chipotle lunch. I like doing the what I eat in a day videos. I feel like they're fun to do, especially because they challenge me to try and be creative in what I'm eating each day. And some days I will feel like I'm about to repeat a meal, so then it challenges me to not do the same thing over and over again. My next what I eat in a day is going to be kind of fun. I'm going to do it on a day when I'm coming off of work, and I'm going to do a, start the clock when I get home, how I make a meal for me and my husband, because it'll be a keto meal, and how I make it in enough time to kind of fit it into my schedule after being off of work. So a quick meal, but something that's kind of fitting my aesthetic, which is something a little bit more fun, so that way I don't get bored, because boredom is the easiest thing. So I think I ran out of questions again. So I don't know if you guys want me to kind of continue. Oh, I'm never really tempted to cheat. The other day I went into a supervisor's office and they offered me like chocolate and peanuts and just candy, and I was easily able to say no. After being keto this long, my taste buds have changed, and so I'm no longer as tempted to eat things that I was really tempted to eat before. I'm noticing that, you know, after a while you notice that your sweetness will change, your kind of feeling of, you know, how much sweetness you need in food will go down, and if I eat something that's sweet that was given to my kids, even if I eat the tiniest nibble, it's almost sickening to me now. So it's really taken away the interest in eating sweet foods. Did you just start 0.432? Did you just start keto, or like how long have you been on keto? Because I think that would play a role. Acetone, it's really prevalent when you start. That's why pee strips work, because it's there, but after a while your acetone levels go down. That's why you also smell, your urine will smell. It's the acetone in it, which is kind of like it's almost like a nail polishy smell. End of September. You should be pretty close to having that go down. That goes down for most people between like 6 weeks and 3 months. So I just want to ask you guys, do you like lives? Do you want me to do more of these? I'm more comfortable doing this now. I was very nervous in the beginning, not knowing what this would be, not knowing how this would go. So I'm glad that so many of you have joined. I thought maybe I'd be sitting here with like one person in the chat and just kind of staring at myself. So this wouldn't take away from my 2 videos a week. If I did this after Ketomas, it would be an added extra. So if you guys like these, I will continue to do them. Where did you get the ox bile from? Okay, so I will do these more often. I'm still gonna kind of continue working through the Ketomas videos. And since I have a few of you on here, do you guys like the recipe videos best, sit downs, vlogs, what I eat in a day? What's your favorite video that I do? Matcha tea is really good for energy, and it's got some thermogenic abilities in it. Nutrologic, okay. Yeah, I just kind of threw this up. I was gonna edit a video, and then I was like, maybe I'll go live. I just got done watching Keto Connect be live, and maybe I should be brave and go live too. Sit down some vlogs. I've been wanting to do something where I take Julia Childs, the Butter Queen, and I recreate her recipes. Would that be something you guys are interested in? My What I Eat in the Days are my most popular videos, so I'm never going to stop making that. Every single Wednesday you will see what I ate one day a week. I will never ever stop that. I watched that like Julie movie, and Amy Adams inspired me to want to make keto fancy recipes. Okay, well, I'm really glad that so many of you guys joined, and I'm really glad that this went well. I'm glad that I didn't have anybody mean or crazy in here. That was what I was nervous about, but you guys are all so sweet, and I feel like I have the best kind of people that watch my videos. They're very genuine and, you know, very positive about the whole keto experience and positive about me. So And so I really appreciate you all. So I'm gonna kind of, I think, end this one for today, but I will do another one of these probably sometime after the whole Ketomas is done. And then I will inform you guys that I'm gonna be doing it so that way more people are able to join. But yeah, I guess I hope everything's going good for you guys, and I will see you guys in my next video. It should be up by probably 5 p.m. Central tomorrow. So it'll be the baked French toast recipe. So I hope you all have a good night, and I'm gonna go watch The Walking Dead. So bye.